My tagline for retirement is to make your retirement remarkable. And I often talk about ways to accomplish that. Today, I want to talk about that once again, but I want to add in a little unique perspective by adding in what I call the rocking chair test. So stay tuned to see what I mean. My name is Maureen Dobransky. This is Life Starts at Retirement. I produce a retirement lifestyle video every Monday morning. Now, I firmly believe that the quality of your life, for the most part, is up to you. We can make the best life we have given our circumstances. None of us are the same. We're all different and we're all unique, but each and every one of us have the power to live our best lives, again, within our circumstances. And when I talk specifically about retirement, you'll often hear me talk about the 4 phases of retirement. Today, I'm going to focus mostly on the second and third phases, but I highly recommend, I'll link it in the comments below, but learning about all 4 of the phases. I have a really good video about all 4, but I think they will help you to make your retirement remarkable. Now, as a brief recap, phase 1 is what I call the fun, the excited phase. I call it, this is it! You're newly retired, life looks amazing, it's so much fun, you're doing everything you want to, or nothing if you want to. But phase 2 can hit you like a ton of bricks if you aren't expecting it. So if phase 1 is, this is it, phase 2 is what I call, is this it? It's where you slowly experience some emotional letdown, where we come face to face with the reality of our new day-to-day living. And for many of us who've worked all of our lives and been busy all of our lives, this new day-to-day living can seem to be without direction, without purpose, without your previous identity, without any kind of structure, without any of your or many of your previous relationships, and without a real plan forward. We often begin to experience those losses as phase 1 wears off. The loss of our identity, the loss of our relationships, the loss of our structure, and big time, the loss of our purpose. So many of us were so focused in the this is it stage, on having fun, on traveling, on the benefits of no structure, we really didn't see these losses coming. But for the far majority of us, phase 2 will come, and it will be different than what we expected, or retirement is different than what we expected. And so we often then will move back and forth between phase 1 and phase 2. For example, the other day I went for a pedicure with a friend, and we had a great time chatting and catching up, and it felt great. And I went, yeah, this is how it should be. And then I walk in the door, and there's another hockey game on TV, and I go, is this it? Oh my gosh, is this it? And the house is a mess. So moving back and forth between the 2 phases is 100% normal. However, phase 2, that is this it stage, can be a difficult one for a lot of people because there are so many losses and there is so much uncertainty. But once you recognize this stage and understand where you are, I recommend you taking the steps to move yourself into stage 3 as quickly as you can. So I call phase 3, find what you love. So at some point, you'll begin a re-evaluation of what retirement means to you. I've also heard this phase being called the reorientation phase, or the trial and error phase. Whatever you want to call it, now is the time to really find what you love. In this phase, we find that it's time to reclaim who we are. Because our work lives had been so filled with schedules and deadlines and demands and kids and mortgages and all this other kinds of stuff, we often didn't have the time or the energy to find what we loved, find out who we actually are. And so to find yourself again and find what you love, it's just quite simple, yet not simple. You just do it by asking yourself a series of questions. So for example, what motivates you? What excites you? What engages you? What do you do well? What could you teach other people maybe? What do you smile about? What do you laugh about? What inspires you? What did you love about your work? What do you miss about your work? And remember, there's no right or there's no wrong answers. They're only your answers. Be true to yourself. But once you see what you're missing, or once you see what excites and motivates you, it's time to add these things back into your life. And it may be as simple as a good book club. It may be as challenging as a video every week on retirement. Who knows? It's all up to you. But remember, in this phase, you'll probably try a lot of things, and some of them will stick and some of them won't. And that's the way it should be. Just try as many things as you can to find something that you love. So some will work for today, and then a year from now you'll go, okay, I did that for a year, I'm good. Be prepared though, and this is where it gets hard. Be prepared though to put yourself out there as much as you feel comfortable, and even if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, because the more you experiment, the more you try new things, the more you'll find what you love, and you'll find your new purpose, your new passion, and your new motivation. You see, your ideal life, unfortunately, just doesn't happen. Someone's not going to come knocking on your door and say, knock, knock, hey, I heard you like golfing. You want to golf with me? No, it takes work. It takes putting yourself out there, and it takes trial and error. And because of that, many people procrastinate. We get scared. We retreat to what we know. And then by default, we end up choosing not as much excitement and fun, and not having our retirement not as remarkable as it could be. So really, in short, we waste a lot of what could be the best years of our lives. And here's just one example. For years and years, my mom and dad spent about at least 10 winters in Mazatlan, Mexico. Beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, great people. But my mom often struggled. She was often bored. She didn't like the food, and so although the weather was good, she just wasn't as comfortable in Mexico as she should have been. And I said to her millions of times, put a notice on the bulletin board and say, okay, here I'm going to have cards this afternoon. There's a whole bunch of other RV parks. Go to all of these RV parks and see if there's notices on those bulletin boards to see if someone else is in Mexico and playing cards or doing something that she would like to do. And I always kept trying to get her to do things so that she could meet some new fun people. But for my mom, it was very, very much out of her comfort zone, and sadly it just didn't happen. And so she went to Mexico, and it wasn't like horrible, but she was bored and she could have had a lot more fun. So another example then is maybe not starting a new hobby because you're new to it. So sometimes starting something new can be maybe embarrassing, maybe you'll feel uncomfortable, but if you don't try it, you'll never know if you love it, or if you're going to be good at it, or if you enjoy it. And then one thing that I still struggle with a little bit is golf. Sometimes I can really golf well, and sometimes I can really golf not well. So lately, especially, I'm getting back to where I used to be good, where I was fairly consistent. But the last probably 2 years, I've really struggled. And so I didn't want to put myself out there and meet other people because I struggled so bad at golf. And yet I want it to be part of my retirement, and I want to meet new people. So I've gotten to the point where I am what I am. When I meet someone new and I golf with them, I just say, I've been struggling lately. If it's really bad, I'll pick up my ball and move to the next hole. And everybody's just fine. I've met some of the most wonderful ladies through golf. But again, you have to put yourself out there and do something maybe a little bit uncomfortable in order to do it. So in each of these situations, you put up with a little bit of sort of short-term pain or just a bit of uncomfortable to get some long-term remarkable fun in your life. So this is now where I talk about the rocking chair test. And I heard this 20 years ago probably, and I think it was a theory from Tony Robbins, and it goes something like this. When you're 95 and you're sitting on your rocking chair on your front porch and you're rocking and you're thinking about your life, what do you wish you had experienced? What passion do you wish you had followed? Or what's your biggest regret? That stuck with me. For myself, I don't want to get to be 95 sitting on my rocking chair and saying, gee, I was too scared or too uncomfortable to reach out to people. And so I didn't experience the things I wanted to do. I want to live my life. I want to experience life. I want to be sitting on my rocking chair at 95 years old going, yeah, that was fun. I may have been uncomfortable at times. I may have made a fool of myself and laughed at myself. Cool. But I tried, I persevered, and I did it. That's what I want for you too. Make your retirement remarkable. I'm Maureen Dabrowski. This is Life Starts at Retirement. I hope you go out there and make your retirement as remarkable as you can. Try something new. Let me know how it goes and post it in the comments. Thanks.